Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of AZ BRANDCAST, where we talk about all sorts of awesome people and the power of brand and how we're building great brands in the remarkable state of Arizona. I'm your co-host, Mike Jones, and
Chris Stadler.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about today because we've got State 48 on the show. And I think for me, this has kind of been, I don't know if it's a long time coming. You've kind of always been in my radar. We got Mike Spangenberg, one of the co-founders, right?
Yep.
And co-owner of the brand. And you guys have this awesome apparel line that you've put together that highlights and celebrates everything about Arizona. I can't wait to dig in more and talk more about kind of some of this fun, really cool stuff you guys are doing. Just a little bit more about the brand from this little write-up they've got, which I think is a really helpful way to kind of summarize who they are. So State 48 Apparel was born out of a shared passion and appreciation for the great state of Arizona, which got me immediately. More than just an apparel line, State 48 represents a lifestyle, a sense of community, and is an expression of pride. From sports fans and outdoor explorers to the more fashion-forward, the homegrown brand offers gear for all that is both stylish and comfortable. And above all else, though, State 48 is about redefining the status quo and inspiring others to rise up and stand for something they believe in. So, Mike, you're the co-founder. You started this thing with your two other co-founders, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. We'll dig into that and the history and kind of your history here in Arizona. I'm excited to talk more about that. But first, I thought we would do a little shout out for our sponsor, Conscious Capitalism Arizona. Chris, you want to do our call out?
Of course. Yeah, Conscious Capitalism are our pals.
They are.
This local association is on a mission to share with the whole world how doing good in your business is just good business. This local chapter of Conscious Capitalism Incorporated hosts tons of local events and provides resources for business leaders to instill a higher purpose in their company and engage all their stakeholders. Want to be conscious? Don't know how? Get in touch at consciouscapitalismaz.com. Mike, are you involved in CCAZ now?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they sucked me in recently, so I'm now on the leadership team of the Arizona chapter.
Yeah, act like I don't know, but
you totally know. You're in the know, Chris.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, so no, that's been awesome. I think I've been involved in the chapter for now 3 years almost, as a member, as a corporate sponsor, and now one of the leaders on the team and on the board. So I'm really excited for kind of the next chapter of the chapter.
Yes,
as we work on planning out the next 12, 18 months of what we're going to be doing, from events and hopefully some really cool initiatives to really spread the word about conscious capitalism here in the state of Arizona and how businesses really can think about their business beyond just profit and money, and really think about like how they can have an impact on all their stakeholders and really make it a win-win-win, not just for the ownership or the shareholders, but really for employees and staff and vendors and ultimately customers. Making sure that everybody is feeling the love through business. So
yeah, and after the big annual conference, I feel like we're all kind of like
we're all energized,
or like we're all energized and ready to kind of get that going again.
Yep.
So exciting stuff.
Yeah, so we got a lot of cool stuff coming up that'll be getting announced very soon. So definitely hop on the website consciouscapitalismaz.com and find out more about what's coming. Get signed up on the newsletter. That's a great way to kind of stay in the loop. So, Mike, you're the main reason we're all here. So I wanted to swing it back to you. Yeah, thanks for coming on the show today. I'm really excited that you're here.
Yeah, it's always an honor to be here and talk about the brand.
That's awesome. I think Chris has. You have an icebreaker to get us going, and then we'll jump into some of your history, the story behind State 48, and kind of what you guys are working on. So.
State 48 is an apparel brand, right?
Correct.
So
that's the category you put it in.
So what is everybody, including Mike and me, and the sound engineer, if she wants to speak to this, your favorite wardrobe malfunction?
That's a great question.
Can anybody hear her laughing? Can anybody hear the sound engineer laughing?
I don't even know if I have one.
I got one.
Okay, go, Chris.
And maybe it'll inspire you guys.
Start us off. You got me coughing with that one. It was too funny.
So, all right. So one time I was we're in Oregon. There's this North Umpqua River, and at the summertime they dam up the north. And anybody who has a house on that part of the North Umpqua River has basically kind of a lake river, right? It's like slow moving. And so my buddy Toby had a boat, and we'd take the tube out, right? The tube, and you'd hold on to it, and he would try with all his might to like scrape you off of it with the water, right? And I would try with all my might to like hold on and not let him scrape me off, you know? So one time he was doing an awesome job. I was doing an awesome job holding on. My shorts, however, and underwear,
oh no,
didn't do such a great job of holding on. So I was upside down, being dragged upside down. I was like, I kind of felt it kind of like go off my toe, that last little hold that I could have had, you know? And it got lost in the North Umpqua River. So luckily we got back to Toby's house, and he brought me out some old pairs of like cutoffs. And so I was able to, I was able to survive with my what do you call it that you lose when something like that happens? Whatever it was intact.
Your pride?
Pride. Sure, let's go with that. Sure. My pride was intact.
Piety?
I don't know. And sense of piety. Yeah. Now that you mentioned it, I thought of it that way before. All right. Who else has one now? Who has who was inspired by my story?
I don't think I have one. I remember in like elementary school when crisscross was popular.
Oh yeah,
wearing the outfit backwards. But besides that, I don't think I had a malfunction.
That was a wardrobe misappropriation.
You definitely had to drop, everything to go to the restroom. But besides that, I don't think there was a malfunction.
There was a sacrifice you had to make to
be cool. I guess with skill and practice, you could do number 2 a little easier. You got good at it. So I may be crossing the line. Okay, let's move on.
You got the signal, didn't you?
I don't. Sound engineer's the only adult.
I don't know if I have like an epic malfunction. I have embarrassing moments or moments of like maybe that wasn't the best choice.
Let's go with that.
Mike's reminded me of my obsession with wearing like ridiculous stuff, like especially like freshman year of high school when you're the low man on the totem pole, just trying to make a statement, show your own colors. I did all sorts of stupid things. I bought big old orange parachute pants and wore those for like 3 months straight.
Nice.
But I think my favorite was a friend of my parents gave them a suit, like a 3-piece gray, like really nice gray pinstripe suit. And they gave it down to me because they're like, Michael needs a suit. And the guy that loaned it was just a hair shorter than me. And so I was like, screw it, I'm doing it. And I wore that thing for a whole week straight with red Converse shoes every day to school. I was like the only kid on campus wearing a suit.
You were Napoleon Dynamite.
I was totally Napoleon Dynamite.
Awesome.
Without the dance moves. I don't know if that makes me any.
Do you have pictures?
Probably not. I'm sure I burned those. It was pre-digital era, so.
Darn it.
Yeah. Make sure that stuff never sees the light of day.
Understandable.
Yeah. I'm still wearing red shoes, though.
Yeah, you are. So
can't get away.
Our first real question, though.
Yeah.
Our real question. The other ones are real. Why did you start the company, and would it have worked with State 47?
That's funny you bring up State 47 because I literally just had to respond to something I saw on the internet yesterday of someone saying, "Oh, State 48's wrong. It actually is State 47," which is not a fact, but it was. It was pretty interesting.
That's interesting.
But to your original question, I was born and raised here in Arizona, Chandler specifically, and we're my other partners who are two brothers. We're big sports fans. Stefan and I, my dad was our T-ball coach. Never thought we'd have been in business together, but we had the shared passion of sports. And obviously Arizona, we used to go to Cardinal games at Sun Devil Stadium, and like most of the fans were the opposing fans. And that used to drive me crazy. So tying in sports, it was just like, why do we not have anything out here representing Arizona in a cool way? I mean, there's a reason why so many people live here. It's very diverse. You have so many people from all over. So the only thing back then was the 3 for $10, excuse my French, but crappy Walgreens shirts. And that was not, my definition of supporting Arizona in a positive and fashionable way. I always loved clothes, back to, I think my favorite part about the summertime was going back to school shopping. So I was picking out my clothes. So I always had, and deep down, like, not to, be corny or anything, but I always knew I was meant to be on this planet to do something special. Years later, it kind of all came to fruition with the help of my two business partners. But that was the whole goal, is just to represent Arizona in a positive, fashionable way. That's something at that time, like, I would be proud to be wearing, and on a comfortable t-shirt. Back then it was an afterthought to, put a, design on a quality t-shirt. And now it's cool to see that's kind of the trend.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's got to be, do you feel like that kind of sense of like accomplishment and just like seeing your shirts and your designs out there and your brand being represented?
It's unbelievable. I mean, with the partnerships we've landed, I mean, seeing decals, being out in public and seeing people wear your shirts, and you're kind of that creepy guy sometimes. Hey, nice shirt. And they're like, who are you? It's just, but you show like, so like, it's like, there's so much love for everyone who supports it. But like, it's also tough being an entrepreneur, like you never want to come complacent, or, so it's always like, this is awesome, but what's the next 10 things we're going to do? So that's one thing that I need to be better at, is just like slowing down and appreciating everything. But it's a dream come true, honestly. I mean, going to Cardinal games at, against Sun Devil Stadium and all our sports teams, and like, I wonder what it'd be like to, work with a team, or, be on that level. And now it's like the relationships we've built, like good text Tori Lavello and Steve Kimes become a good friend. That's not to brag, but it's just like, just to show like, it's so much more than t-shirts and hats for us. And it's really about representing your community in a positive way. And life's all about who you know, and you build these incredible relationships with so many people.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
But back to the original question.
Yeah, Chris won't let you escape.
Wouldn't it have sucked if you were in New Mexico?
Yeah, I mean, there's things. I mean, for probably more reasons than the name, probably. But, no offense, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it obviously was a perfect. I mean, Stefan, who's my friend, business partner, came out of the restroom, and this is a true story how it like officially started. As I was writing down names in a notebook, probably for like a year, of like a clothing brand. Nothing ever, made sense or was like the aha moment. We were living together at the time. I was in the hotel industry. Stefan was working with me in the hotel industry, and he knew I wanted to start something. So he literally came out of the restroom, brushing his teeth one day, and I remember sitting at my desk, and he said State 48, and I'm here, born and raised in Arizona, diehard Arizona fan, got Arizona tattoos, and I'm like, what's Arizona, or what's 48 or State 48? And he was like, Arizona's 48 state, and it was like as soon as he said that, it was like the aha moment where it's like, bam, we had that. It was submitted for a trademark right away. His younger brother's self-taught graphic designer, and then we all just decided to start the company.
That's awesome.
So it was pretty cool.
It's really cool, like how, an idea can percolate for that long, right? You were kind of stewing on it for at least a year, just trying to come up with the name. And then all of a sudden it's like that kind of aha moment kind of puts it all together, and then you're off to the races.
For sure. And I just think that's important in any industry or any business that you're wanting to start, is like, okay, what problem are you solving? And at that time it was to represent Arizona with a clothing brand. And also like, it can't be, I would ask, friends and family of like, what do you think about this name? It was like, oh, it's cool, but when you would say State 48, it was like, bam, like you knew you had something special. So I think that's just any advice to give to anyone is like, make sure it's like, it really feels special and good.
Yeah, we kind of throw around this idea around the office when we're talking about names and stuff for different things. And there's a different, it kind of gets floated around in a lot of like branding circles around this idea of the 33, which is a reference to Rolling Rock, the beer company. Okay. They have a number 33 that's on their labels. It's just like kind of in the corner, this little badge. And the whole thing is that became kind of this conversation point for a lot of people who were drinking Rolling Rock. Like, oh, what's that 33? Like, what does that mean? And come to find out, it means nothing.
Yeah,
it's just this sense of like magic that you can instill. And I think like you can almost like feel it when you say that name, like State 48. And there's like, oh, what's that? I want to know more.
Oh, yeah.
There's the magic to it. There's a little bit of like kind of appeal and like a little mystery. And you're like, I want to unpack that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in business 6 years, and I remember when we first started, we would sell anywhere possible, whether it's, events on Mill Avenue or First Fridays before it was cool. And it was always like, and you still get that today, where it's like people see the logo on a shirt, like they have that like dazed look or confused look where like, man, that's really cool, but what is it? And it's just like that. It's so powerful, word of mouth, and like starting conversations, like you said, like that's the goal. Is like, hey, when I'm going on vacation, I'm packing, State 48 or my Cardinals gear or Suns gear because I'm proud to represent where I'm from. And I think it's just become such a conversation starter of like, literally I hear this all the time where like, people are all around the world in our shirts and like on vacations or whatever. And you're in, in another airport, and someone's like, hey, where do you go? And then it starts a conversation. Oh yeah, I'm from Arizona. It's just, that's what's beautiful about kind of starting something and then really having meaning behind it.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
When I see State 48, I don't think like Silicon Valley. I don't think anything that's like related to like, I'm not thinking polish. I'm thinking like a Jeep. I'm just thinking like what comes to mind? It's Arizona stuff. The stuff that I love most about Arizona is it feels rugged. And maybe it's just because of who I've seen it on and like the vehicles I've seen the sticker on and stuff like that. But to me, it's kind of inspiring in that way. It kind of, we're always wondering, what is Arizona's brand, and it's kind of starts to feel like it kind of takes shape a little bit around that, which is,
Well, our brand message is clothing for all inspired by Arizona. And that's pretty straightforward. And we want, whether we make onesies, or grandparents, whoever wears it, like we support everyone. And that's what like our biggest message is like, we really do want to showcase love in a positive way. Like, unfortunately, there's so much negativity in this world. And it's like, we just want to stay positive, support everyone as possible, as much as possible. And literally anyone can wear our shirts or hats. So.
Yeah, unless you're from State 47.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And then it's we can't have that.
We welcome everyone though. So usually, what happens
you
is
can defect.
You can,
to Arizona.
Well, annex.
It's true. I mean, my family was born and raised in New York. I came out to go to ASU, and I was born here. But my dad's a diehard Diamondback fan. And it just kind of happens. And so many people that do move here, really, love where they're from now, and kind of call this their new home. So I think that's part of our demo. It's not, the cool part is now you have generations growing up here finally, but now you have so many people that have been here 10 plus years and like, this is home.
Yeah.
I'm going to represent where I'm from.
Yeah. That's awesome. What was the next one?
It's about, it's about community.
So what does community mean to State 48? Because you guys talk a lot about how that's important to you. And I think especially in the context of Arizona.
Yeah. I think it goes back to, again, what we want people to know about our brand is it's much more than T-shirts and hats. We don't want to be that brand. Of course, we're a for-profit business. We have to sell products, but we don't want to be known as just pushing products down people's face. And the reason for that is like, or to answer your question about community, is like, it's so rewarding to be involved in our community. And what separates us from any, different clothing brand, there could be a million better designers or business people than us. But like, I think what I know is our niche, and what we take pride on is relationships. And a prime example is our collaborations. That if you check out our social media, you'll see almost every other post is about a collaboration with a different, organization, nonprofit, a brewery, a sports team. And that's just with our ultimate goal to be that recognized brand of Arizona. It's been incredible that so many organizations want to be a part of what we're doing. And they want to make team shirts for their, like Taco Bell, for example. They just did 600 shirts to bring to their conference in California to show off for everyone here in Arizona, to show off that sense of pride.
That's awesome.
I think it's just so cool that people want to be associated with our brand, like big brand, small brand, mama, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what community means to us. And like, we do so many tiebacks, and like Arizona Humane Society, we work with them where $5 per shirt goes back to the foundation. We work with Luis Gonzalez and his Hometown Heroes, which helps supports first responders in Arizona. So there's so many different causes we do, and unfortunately we can't donate all the money we want to. But with revenue sharing, model that we have on some of these shirts, it allows us to. And even bigger than that, it's about the awareness part. On social. Anyone who works with us, we're gonna promote them in any possible way. So it's just educating people on different causes and just showing love.
That's awesome. Do you have like maybe one or two stories from that of like a brand that you guys got to work with that really just made a deep impact for you?
100%. So our first big collaboration and kind of like game changer for our brand was working with Bruce Arians, the former Cardinals head coach, which we still work with today. All that came about is a relationship. We did Phoenix Fashion Week. It was Emerging Designer Boot Camp. Long story short, the executive director connected us with Jake Arians, who was Bruce Arians' son. again, we've always wanted to make sports designs and so on. And at that time, like 2014, it was like, I think the year into when BA was first here, and he's really becoming like that popular coach and that cool guy. And so we wanted to make a design for him. So we did a silhouette of BA. Next thing you know, they absolutely love the shirt. The Cardinals went like 13-3. We couldn't keep the shirts in stock. We're still working with him today because again, it's so much more than, even though, he is with Tampa now, but the foundation that it benefits is the Arians Family Foundation, which helps neglected children. Everyone deserves a good upbringing, and it's so much more powerful than, again, selling products. We've, even today, I think we've raised over $50,000, not only in dollars, but product and to give back to that. So that's probably it has been our most successful collaboration, but like they're like family now. It's just at his son's wedding in Georgia. So like that's just the beauty of it all. And that's probably the best kind of takeaway story so far. Awesome. Is just like the impact you can make with kids' lives or whoever, whatever the cause is, by selling t-shirts.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So you guys, I've been chomping at the bit to get to this question, because what I really want to know, what we're kind of always trying to find out is, what is Arizona, right? What makes Arizona special, or is it just a cheaper place to live, or is it just a place with just more sunshine? And so you guys talk about making a difference through Arizona inspired products. So does that mean that it's like, well, we happen to be from Arizona, therefore we're just gonna, like Arizona will be the anchor, or is there like more to it? Like, how does Arizona, like, what things about Arizona inspire like clothing or logos, designs?
It's a great question, and I think for me, like it's just like having that underdog mentality. Again, tying in sports of like, man, it was like weird to be an Arizona sports fan, right? And it was just like drove me nuts that like, why don't we represent, like why are we not proud of where we're from, right? And I think a lot of that is because, especially growing up here with so many transplants, which I think is a great thing. But to answer your question, I think there wasn't really fashionable, and like what drove me crazy too is that people would graduate college or high school and like, I'm going to LA, I'm going to New York to go pursue my whatever I want to do, and fashion or what, it doesn't matter the industry. It was just like people were leaving here to go do something because they didn't feel like this was like the state of opportunity. And I think now it's evident that, look how many big organizations and Fortune 500 companies are moving to Arizona. And yes, pricing comes in, but I just think it's I'm biased, but it's the place to be. It's affordable. You're surrounded by so many great states. You can be in the valley and kind of have a city, and then you can go up north and be into, like, everything's at your fingertips. So the biggest part of it is it's a genuine passion where I felt like I was like the underdog, like representing Arizona, and that just drove me crazy. I know there was other like-minded people like myself that wanted that same thing, and it was just cool to kind of get ahead of the curve of, hey, local is very valuable and strong, and it's only going to become stronger the more people are growing up here.
So the underdog thing kind of struck me as kind of, out of what you said, there are a lot of things that other places share, like you can go to a big city, you can go to the mountains, there are a lot of places like that. The one thing that you said that struck me as really different from, a lot of other places is that underdog mentality. It's kind of like, we're from Arizona. Oh,
it wasn't cool to be from Arizona back then.
Right.
Not to interrupt, sorry. But
no, yeah.
That's where it all came from. It's like California was cool, New York was cool, like all these great. And don't get me wrong, nothing about this, but it's like, this is where I'm from, so I want to make it cool.
Even when I moved here, I was like, well, it's close enough to California without actually being California.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the thing. You go to San Diego in the summertime, you see ASU shirts and U of A shirts everywhere. It is kind of Arizona's second home. So, but I think that's a beautiful thing. You got Mexico and Colorado. You just got everything surrounding you. Hop on a quick flight or drive. So if you are itching at those other kind of needs in water and all that good stuff, you have, but you kind of have everything here, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So tell me more about that underdog thing though, because I think there's truth to that. And when I heard that, I was like, no, there is something there, and I don't know what it is yet. But Mike's going to tell us.
Yeah, I don't know if I just think,
or we can at least, talk about it, and we can play around with it a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think, again, like growing up here, like when I was in high school and people would ask, how many are you from Arizona? I'd be like that one dude in the back, like, raising my hand. Now I go speak to kids or whoever, and it's like, you got majority of the class. And I think that's something special. And it's now people really love, being here because it's also expanded so much. Like, don't get me wrong, it probably wasn't really that cool. It was just being biased of where I was from, but now you see the city's just developing. I mean, downtown Phoenix used to be an afterthought. You'd go there for a Suns game, and even on the weekends, it was a ghost mine, right? So like seeing how much that is developing, and Chandler, where I grew up, like that was definitely not the place to be, and now that's skyrocketing in real estate and development, and downtown Gilbert. I mean, just everywhere is becoming like so cool, and you have your different pockets where you can experience different kind of cultures and styles and whatever your interests are. So yeah, I don't know what else to really say about more of the underdog. It's just like the sports was a big part of it. Like Cardinals, for example, were the laughing stock, and then to see it go to where it was and really establish a loyal following and customer, that's kind of what we took pride on, is representing that, not being like, it wasn't the trendy thing to do to represent your team, your sports teams in your city here.
Because a lot of times, like underdogs, sorry, face away from the mic. So a lot of times the underdogs are like, there's something that it does to you. There's like qualities that come out when you're the underdog. I'm thinking of like sports teams and stuff, right? Like I like being the underdog. I like being the one who's like, if I'm expected to win, it's like, crap. Like now where do I go, right? Yeah. But if they're like, oh, you're going to get killed, and it's like, no, I'm actually not going to get killed, and then it's a lot of fun to go out there and prove things.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I've been a season ticket holder since the last year at Sun Devil, where the Cardinals played. And then that year when the Cardinals went to the Super Bowl, I still remember to this day, I mean, still get chills talking about it, being at the NFC Championship game where the Cardinals beat the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl. Like, it was just like, it's crazy what sports can do to you, but it just brings so much passion and so much energy out. And like, people that know me, like, do you have enough pulse? Because I'm very, very calm and like very, but with work but when I'm at a sports game, it's like a whole new me. Cause it's just like, it's just so much more inside. And I might sound corny or crazy, but it's just, I think anyone that's a sports fan can relate to it. It's just, and that's not just about sports. It's just about Arizona in general, like seeing so much happening here. It kind of just brings a sense of pride to you.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like you guys need to do like a line of shirts that's like underdog themed. I mean, seriously, I mean, think about it. It's like, it's that what you're saying rings true. And it's almost like there's this, and I'm wondering if there's this feeling out there with business, with people just kind of like, we're kind of like the sleeping, like we're waiting for our time, and with businesses growing and finding new opportunities here and stuff. It's almost like there's this, I don't know if there's a scrappiness that comes with that's actually happening, or if that's just something that,
Yeah, no, I think that's totally real. I mean, especially talking and getting to know a lot of our community and running our social media, you feel that same sense of passion. And I think that's why our community has become so strong, especially State 48 community, the people that are supporting us, is that they feel that passion from us, and they also want to, show off that pride. And, it's that competition of like the other states, it's nothing, it's just friendly, like, hey, my state's better than yours. And just like, when you see, musicians and stuff representing like a jersey or whatever, you're like, man, that's cool. It's like, it would never have been thought of someone representing a Suns jersey or a Coyotes jersey. Now you just see it more and more. So, and hearing more people, like, especially, moving here for not summer homes, but just like off season homes and such. Like, there's just so much cool stuff going on.
It's like the cowboy mentality, I feel like, coming out, kind of like the individual, like even the cactus in the desert, they look like they're giving you the middle finger. Yeah, sometimes.
It's funny.
It's just like heat. Like, we're gonna survive anyway.
Yeah, it's true. My aunt, the first time she visited here, she's like, "Why are they all flipping me off?" And people go nuts for cactus too, so, on shirts or hats or whatever it is. But it's funny.
I think there's it's interesting kind of thinking back, like the history of Arizona, and like we're the last of the continental United States, like states to be admitted into the Union. The only two states younger than Arizona are Alaska and Hawaii. we are like intrinsically, I think just as a community, we're younger in terms of like, especially if you talk about the Phoenix metro area, like Phoenix hasn't been around anywhere near as long as like a New York or a lot of, East Coast cities or even like in LA or San Francisco. And so like, I think there is this kind of underdog. Some of that might be, hey, we just haven't been around as long. And
100%. I mean, that's again to your question of like, what's the like so many people like knock Arizona for being fair weather fans, but it's like, okay, well, compare us to a New York or a Chicago, whatever, when you had all this history of generation of like, this is where I'm from. Like, of course, like, but even I think it's even more alarming and more awesome to know that all these people from all these great cities are moving here because they want to live here and enjoy the weather and enjoy, the cost of living and just everything going on here. So I think that says a lot about who we are and how diverse we are and how open we are. And
Well, and the idea of fair weather fans when it's like 100 and whatever degrees has a totally different meaning here in Arizona.
At least Chase Field has a nice AC.
yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, it's like one of the like how many other baseball parks have like air conditioning? Need air conditioning.
Yeah.
And football, like we have air conditioning the Cardinals where the Cardinals play.
I mean, I think it's more of a trend now, but a lot of them, this is like their best time of year for weather. So, they get to enjoy that, where us, it's the exact opposite. So,
Well, I think that was one of the cool things about like Chase Stadium or back when it was Bank One Ballpark. And they originally designed it to have that like, retractable roof. And that was a big deal because it's like, hey, you can enjoy a game of baseball here year round if you have that kind of like setup. And
you better have a roof when it's on 15. But, although this summer has been by far the best.
It's been pretty easy.
I know.
Since I've lived here.
It eased into summer.
Yes.
It's been away.
It did.
I mean, it was low hundreds today, right?
That's crazy.
Almost in,
yeah. It was like actually nice out this morning when I left at like 7. So it was cool.
My family was here from Florida, and my dad was like, "Yeah, how hot was it yesterday? Like 100 and whatever." And I'm like, "I don't know. I just I assume it's going to be in the triple digits." And I get in my car and I drive to work, and then I drive back. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, once it's over 100, it's all the same.
Yeah,
same stuff. You don't even care about looking at the 108, 109, whatever it might be.
It's just hot.
Yep.
That's all you need
just
to know.
Find air conditioning or find a pool.
Yep.
Yeah,
you're good.
Totally.
So cool. Yeah. So, you talk about making a difference. How do you guys, I mean, we've talked a little bit about that already, but like, how do you kind of see that happening, through the brand and how are you guys kind of maybe thinking about doing that as you grow?
Yeah, I think the biggest part again is just utilizing our platform. Not obviously all our collaborations are tiebacks, but what we give the opportunity to is that, so any co-branded design we do, it's a lot of business to business transaction and hopefully turns in a long time relationship, but they buy a minimum 100 shirts from us after we create a co-branded design. And the cool part about that is it allows them, the wholesale price we sell it to them, allows them to resell it and make it much more of a profit than we are. So a lot of nonprofits utilize that, schools. So it gives them the option to do that. And I think not only on the financial side is how we're able to make a difference, but just the awareness on social media. I mean, for example, we started community impact days that we're trying to do every month, and that's partnering with another local organization. And we just had a very successful event with United Food Bank, which they did order some collaboration shirts, but the biggest focus was to get volunteers. And we had over 250 volunteers for one day. The goal was to pack 4,800 emergency bags, especially this time of year when summer, when people need food every single day. The goal was to have 2 4-hour shifts. With everyone we got there, each shift was only ended up being an hour. So, I mean, that just goes such a long way. And it's just, again, that prime example of why it's much more than just shirts and hats. It's like, hey, use your platform, use your resources to really educate people. Because I think there's so many people, speaking of volunteering, there's so many people want to do good, but they just don't know where to get started. And because they trust our brand, we put it out there. Hey, we have this great day. Spinato's Pizzeria, for example, came in as a partner of ours and donated a bunch of pizza for everyone to eat. And it was just an awesome day that it was impactful and that you're helping people. So that's just one example. And that's the goal, is just to be able to, promote love.
That's awesome. You guys have a love shirt yet?
I know, I keep saying that, huh? I don't want to compete with Love Up.
That's awesome. I know we've got one more question on the discussion guide, but I think there's a couple other things I wanted to ask and kind of dig into. I want to hear a little bit more of like kind of how you guys got started. So you've got two partners with you. You guys co-founded the company. How did that happen? What was the genesis for that? And then maybe tell me a little bit about kind of the trajectory. Like, how has it gone? Like, I'm sure it's had ups and downs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we could talk about that forever. So the ultimate, like the original idea was I want to create some of my own. Again, I was stuck with names. Like I said, I shared with Stefan, who was like my dad was our T-ball coach, right? Never thought we'd have been in business together. He was working for me at the hotel, actually. When he came up with a name, we're like, okay, perfect. Instead of let's just go to do this together. And then, okay, we need a graphic designer. And then Nick, who was self-taught graphic designer, originally wasn't part of the plan. So I really didn't get to know Nick. Obviously, I knew Nick from hanging out with Stefan here and there, but never really got to know Nick until we went to business together. But we submitted our trademark and did everything the right way. Once we got that official in March of 2013, we had a buddy of mine who was doing screen printing, and I got our main logo in like 10 different color combinations. I probably got like our first order 100 shirts, and our neighbors probably thought we were drug dealers because people kept coming inside, in and out of our house, which was obviously wasn't true. But we were selling shirts everywhere, and it was just so cool that people took, a passion for it. And we were doing our first launch event was at the old tavern on Mill Avenue, and we had literally like hundreds of people there. The whole Mill Avenue was wearing State 48, and we're like, okay, we have something special. We all worked full-time jobs the first 2 years into it. That's one thing I think people don't realize is how much hard work and sacrifice and capital it takes. I mean, we each invested $500 in this business, and we've sold almost $4 million in shirts.
That's awesome.
So like, you can do anything you put your mind to it, and it takes a lot of sacrifice. But the first 2 years, we didn't take a dollar. We weren't able to go. We staggered how we went full time. Almost 3 years into it, Stefan went full time, then Nick went full time, and then I went full time, and we all get it. When you're comfortable in your career, or you're making, what you're making, it's much harder to go start from the bottom. So we had to be smart about it. And then we just kept, growing and celebrating wins as we went. Social was a big help for us. Again, mentioned earlier, went through Phoenix Fashion Week, which really taught us like the business of fashion. Then we started getting into retailers. I mean, our first retailer that gave us a shot was here on the corner on Mill Avenue, which is no longer there, right off Mill Avenue. But and then it's just all relationships. Then again, I mentioned Bruce Arians was a huge help, gave us a ton of credibility. I mean, our shirts were ending up on Monday Night Football, and just like awesome. You go to Cardinal games, I was like the Cardinal shirt. Then the D-backs took notice, and we were working with the Suns, and it just keeps getting better and better. And obviously that takes a lot of hard work, and you need people around you to help you. I think a big help from us at the beginning, when you don't have money and you don't have all these resources, is, again, I was born and raised here, so people, right? Like Dave, who's our website manager, we grew up with, like Sharp Guy, this is his industry. Jenica, who's our photographer, this is her industry, her passion. Like, you find passionate people that are believe in what you're doing, and they're also, this is what they do for a living. And at the beginning, for so long, it was extra side money for them, right? And they just believed in it. Now it's cool. It's turning into full-time roles and having more graphic designers. But yeah, the sky's the limit. I don't even feel like we're scratching the surface yet. Really, just the goal is just continue to get our brand out there. And when you actually look at our customer database compared to how many people are living in Arizona, we're not doing anything special yet. So the goal is just to create that brand, a recognized brand of Arizona, and then, big picture, have different, divisions underneath that, and really make this a powerful thing.
That's awesome.
So you guys, I noticed you talked about celebrating wins, and so a lot of the brands we have on the podcast they have pretty good cultures. Max 6 around here, I mean, we tend to just kind of be lucky and have a lot of friends who have great cultures. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, because you mentioned it's about relationships. You've mentioned love, And then you just mentioned celebrating wins. I'm wondering how does that, like, what kind of culture do you guys have there at State 48?
Yeah, and I could actually speak on the challenges part of that too, because like I mentioned earlier, like you get so wrapped up in like what's next and the hustle, and it's like, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, what are the next 10 things? And I think what has really helped us, and also having two business partners that are brothers, and we all three have different styles and interests, history and kind of career paths and such. It's just, I think the key to that, because we have our, disagreements all the time. And at the beginning, it was very much of a pride thing when we were younger, right? I'm 34 now. Stefan's 34. And I think Nick's 30, even younger than that. When you're first starting, you get into so many kind of heated arguments because you want it to be, about like your likes or whatever. And then we quickly realized that, hey, it's not about us, of course. It's about the customers. It's about people that are supporting us. And we can't make decisions off of, opinions and feelings and emotions, and hey, let's just go off numbers, right? But I think the key to solving all this and why we've improved along the way is communication. And that's one weekly meeting where you don't miss that thing for anything, and just keep it in. If you have frustrations, you're venting that out, and just kind of, otherwise, if you hold that inside, it's just, it builds up and it gets nastier. So, but on culture, we try to, again, bring passionate people that believe in what we're doing, and then just showing appreciation, genuine appreciation. That should just, I spent 15 years in the hotel industry. I love working with people. I worked my way up to become a GM, and I think that is a big strength that I have, is that kind of leading and just, again, treating people with the respect they deserve, and just making sure that appreciation's getting there too. Hey, man, you killed on designs, or hey, great there's little things that just go a long way. Help us keep going.
It's a shot in the arm to hear, regularly someone give you genuine good feedback, like a good, compliment on something you're proud of.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of, like, especially, I'm good with that with the team, but like Stefan and Nick, like, we're definitely all guilty of not showing each other appreciation. Like, hey, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Like, hey, or it's like the good job. Like, okay, that's one thing we definitely don't do a great job between us three, is just acknowledging of all the hard work that's going into it, because we're nothing, not only with the team, but definitely us. So, but you kind of, that's one area of opportunity for sure.
Yeah, it's easier, I think, to tell people you work who like kind of report to you stuff, because it's your responsibility. You forget that other people laterally and
for sure,
and if that as well.
And it's so important too, because if we're not all on the same page, we're three equal owners. If we're not on the same page and their attitude goes a different way with someone else, then you start having issues on the culture side, right? So I think it's important for us to all be on the same page and just show that same appreciation.
Yeah. Well, kudos for making it this far. 6 years with three owners. That's an achievement.
Oh yeah,
there are not many that are able to do that.
Yeah, it's great. The more you connect with people, and you're like, I just met someone who was telling me that very successful company, they're buying out like their brother, and business gets tricky, and you got to stick with the facts, and it's harder, and that's a challenge that we face too. Is that it's hard to have honest conversations with them, because there's feelings involved, so it's easier. And that's my background of having those honest connections and conversations with a team member, but when because they're not invested in it as such as an ownership, right?
Yep.
And because we're equal, it's just like, okay, yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, but I still don't need to listen to what you say. It could be like that, so it can get a little tricky.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, because that's the hard part, right? Is knowing how to get people to say that last bit that they need to say. Like, if you feel like it's unresolved, like how do you get to that?
Yeah,
or is that even important? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's still, like, to be frank, like, it's still things that I don't say that need to be said, and it's just because you're so worried about you have compassion and just you don't want it, but. That's the tough part, is you got to separate it when in business, and that's what any advice I would give too is like, just make sure you're choosing your partners correctly, and that doesn't that's not saying I didn't or anything like that, but just know that it's very, very hard to work with family, friends, but it also could be very rewarding too. So
yeah, I definitely I feel that. I've got two business partners in my business, and we were friends long before we were business partners, and I think in some ways that's actually benefited us in that we've always kind of had this like friends first mentality to how we approach stuff, that no matter how bad it gets or how much we disagree with each other on maybe a decision, it's like, hey, we're gonna care for each other first as people and as friends, and then the business stuff, we'll figure that out. Right?
Yeah, I think if you have
if
you have the respect, everything's going to kind of work itself out. But like Stefan and Nick are like best friends. Stefan, we used to go to football. We're not even friends. Like, not even, just being honest, like, we're not friends anymore. Like, it's just become like a business relationship. And that is kind of sad, but it's just what the reality of what things happen. Like, you work together so often, or you're frustrated. It's like, oh, I don't want to. The last thing you want to do is go hang out with that person. And I also, it's different too, like your interests. Like, I love business. I could talk about work 24/7. I could work 7 days a week. You know, they all have their different interests. And if we're around each other, naturally, you're going to talk about work, and they don't, maybe they don't want to hear me talk. So it's just what the reality of things happening when things happen when you work with friends and family.
Yep. No, it's tricky.
You guys need to go do karaoke or something.
There's a team retreat coming soon.
As long as you can't sing.
Karaoke.
Right? That's the special part, is if you just can't sing and you still do karaoke, like that tells you you're cool.
It'd be very much a bonding situation.
Especially if you did like, I don't know, like the Humpty Dance or like what? It's like a dumb song.
There's some good dumb songs out there.
Yeah.
Thinking the Macarena or something.
The Macarena, yes, totally. Oh,
something
man.
funny.
First thing that popped in my head was that Friday song that was like a huge hit. What was that, like 5-6 years ago or something?
Friday song?
Yeah, terrible. Like,
sing it because I don't know.
No. This isn't karaoke. This is a podcast. Yeah, it was just a terrible pop song. It was like YouTube thing, went around for a while. It was pretty viral.
Oh man,
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, there's some good ones. There's some good candidates out there.
I just feel like if it's like a team, like a company thing, you got to sing something about the weekend, right?
Yeah.
So that just feels appropriate. That's what you're all working for, right?
Are we brainstorming for our retreat this weekend, Mike?
No, that's already set in stone. Okay. We are not doing karaoke. I would not subject you guys to that.
Where are you guys headed?
Oh, we're going to a little staycation type retreat here. We rented an Airbnb here in Tempe and hit the pool. We got a couple other fun activities. We'll do some axe throwing. Okay. I'm excited to try that out.
I was stoked when you had to fill out that waiver.
You had to sign the waiver.
It was like axe throwing is cool, but you have to sign a waiver. It's like, oh, this is going to be really cool.
Yeah. And then we'll do some work too. We've got some big agenda items to work through. So it'll be good. I'm excited. It's going to be first time we've really ever done that with the entire team. I've done it with my partners before. Yeah. We kind of do like our partner retreats, but we haven't done it with the whole team. So
how big is the team?
This time around, if with everybody, I think we'll be about 7, 8.
Sweet.
So that should be, I mean, we've got a bunch of remote people too who kind of hop in on different projects. And
we'll eventually figure that out.
We haven't quite figured out how to do this is more of the leadership retreat. Yeah. And then we'll figure out like everybody remote retreat. We'll hop on Zoom for a day or something.
Yeah, and we maybe only 8, but we do the work of 16.
Yeah. There you go.
I feel you there. We still wear a lot of different hats, so I feel you.
Yep. Yeah, definitely wearing a lot of hats.
So what's the ultimate vision for you guys?
Yeah, I love that. Really, it's just first and foremost to acquire more customers, people learn about us, but really to be that recognized brand and then to have those different entities underneath it. I mean, a media division, nonprofit, like different things like that. State 48 travel group, it might be coming soon where, you partner with up all our sports teams and you arrange these great road trips for, other people. So it's all these different opportunities. And it's just, again, to build it up where you can always be much more in t-shirts and hats and on the actual apparel side, having different lines. Maybe it's organic, maybe it's, more fashion forward and just kind of making sure we hit all demos. But yeah, just a lot of exciting things on the work upcoming and even different license deals. I mean, we have a co-branded credit card coming out with 1AZ.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's
really I saw you guys are doing a lot with them.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yeah. So things like that where you can create a revenue share and a revenue stream off big picture. I would love to have a State 48 license plate.
Yeah, now we're talking.
I want to work through ADOT on that one. I know there's a lot of hurdles for that.
Just a couple.
So yeah, big. I mean, that's the thing. Like you just put it out there, you build it up, and the opportunities just keep coming. So obviously, it takes a lot of hard work and connections and relationships, but we're just going to keep trucking away.
That's awesome. It's very cool.
I feel like you should just totally overshoot the whole ADOT thing and just find a good hacker and just hack the signs. The freeway signs.
No. Those are funny. Yeah.
But yeah, you could hack the.
Can you get a digital license plate? What are you talking about, Mike? Are you talking
digital license plate?
Are you? Yeah,
that would be.
They don't have those yet.
No.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
We're not ready for that yet. No. We can't even get like driverless cars yet. We can't have digital license
we need
plates.
the flying cars first and the self-driving cars. Yeah.
Although I've seen hoverboards, so we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Do you have any like cool like events or projects coming up that you want to plug or give a shout out to, let people know about?
No, I mean, we're always got something going on. We don't do a ton of different events. We do more of like kind of these partnerships, and hoping to land a Cardinals player collaboration coming soon. So that would be exciting. But I would say if anyone wants to learn more about us, check us out on social media. It's at State 48, all spelled out. State48.com for our website. But that's where we're very active. I mean, usually 1 or 2 posts a day at least on the feed and a couple stories. Nothing where. Again, we're going to annoy you, or if you want to check us out on the newsletter too, you can join us there. But that's where we try to share everything. But there's always something going on.
That's awesome. Yeah. It seems like you guys are pretty active based on everything I've seen, and just kind of trying to keep up. And
it's
just
awesome. It's very exciting. We're taking over the Rattlers merchandise, some co-branded on
That's
there.
Awesome.
Rising's,
Rattlers love.
Rising's doing awesome, and we work with them. So like sports teams are hitting on all cylinders. Obviously, work with the Diamondbacks. So
where does Phoenix Rising play?
Right there in Tempe, like Tempe Marketplace area. It's right off the 202. It's like where everyone wanted to play. Everyone wanted a stadium. But yeah, hopefully they can get MLS soon too. And I think
that would be huge.
I mean, the engagement and the fans, the loyalty they already get. I mean, they're 100. I mean, that is an outdoor stadium in summertime at 100+ degrees, and they're selling out.
That's what I was wondering.
Nonstop.
Like they play in that heat.
I mean, it's usually like 7:30 starts, so I mean, it
still could be like 95.
Yeah, it's still, but for sure. But they're like, it's just such a fun, and they're winning their first place. Like, you guys all know, like once winning solves all those problems. But it's really become like kind of the cool place to be. I don't know if you've heard.
Come to my stadium. It's 110 degrees.
I don't know if you've heard of
win all your home games.
They're popular at Dollar Beer Nights on Fridays.
No,
so they're 12-0 this year with Dollar Beer Nights. And
wait, they're 12-0 on Dollar Beer Nights.
Yeah, every Friday. Well, every Friday they have a game. They do Dollar Beer Nights, and so
but they're 12-0, and it's correlated with Dollar Beer Night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Something's going
they're
on.
They're first place, but they
so
have
you're saying Dollar Beer Night causes them to win.
Yeah. You see a lot of
correlation is causation.
So but I mean, it's just new partnerships always coming out, and it's just exciting to see what's next.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Thank you so much, Mike. This was an awesome,
Are we done already?
Conversation. Yeah, we're done. I know. It
Time
flew
flies.
by.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
So
talk more about beer, and
we're definitely going to be keeping tabs on State 48.
Okay.
We're going to have to, I don't know, I'm like racking my brain. I got all sorts of ideas of collaborations, and I'll talk to you later about that.
Cool.
I got a couple I think that might be interesting. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody for hanging out and listening to AZ BRANDCAST. Where again, we delve into the makings of remarkable brands here in the great state of Arizona.
Like State 48.
Like State 48. I don't know how much more Arizona you can get than that brand. It's awesome. I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you'd like to know more about AZ BRANDCAST or check out any of our past episodes, check us out on azbrandcast.com or find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, anywhere that you like to download your podcast. We're probably there. And if we're not, give us a shout out on the website and let us know. So we can get up wherever you like to get your podcast. Also sign up for our newsletter. We've got tons of great content on the website, and we love pushing that out to people. And if you want to know more about Chris or myself, you can find out more about us on the website as well, azbrandcast.com. Huge thank you and shout out to our producer, Karen of Phoenix Business Radio X, and of course our gracious hosts at Max 6, and our awesome sponsors at Conscious Capitalism Arizona, who make sure that this gets to happen every month. So really excited to partner with them on that. And don't forget, everybody, you are
remarkable. Sorry. I thought we'd do it at the same time.
You are remarkable.